Raiders Nation, we need to talk. Something is not adding up inside the Raiders, and nobody is stepping up to explain what is going on behind the scenes. According to reports, the calm before the opener is pure illusion, and there are speculations that drastic changes could blow up at any moment. Nothing confirmed yet, but the heat on the coaching staff's shoulders is unbearable. Are we about to witness a historic turnaround or an unforgivable mistake? So smash that like button and stay until the end, because this could change everything. And that is not even the most concerning part, because the clock is ticking down to week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, and our offensive unit just took a massive hit that could compromise the coaching staff's entire game plan. According to reports from inside the facility, Ashton Jeanty's injury in practice on August 23rd left everyone with their hearts in their mouths. At first, general panic set in with fears of a severe knee injury, but ESPN insider Adam Schefter came out to confirm it was an ankle sprain. Now, the big question on everyone's mind is, what is the actual severity of this? Head coach Klint Kubiak is keeping his lips sealed without dropping an official return timeline. Is this extreme caution or disguised panic from the front office? If Jeanty misses the first few games, the Silver and Black need to act fast so they do not sink right out of the gate. And that is exactly where the trade market enters the hottest and most controversial conversations in the NFL. According to recent reports, names are starting to pop up on the desks of the league's top executives. Winston Wilcox from Fansided threw out an idea that is splitting opinions online, going after New York Giants running back Devin Singletary. In an article published on August 25th, Wilcox laid out a scenario where the Raiders would send a 2027 sixth-round pick to New York in exchange for the 28-year-old. Let's look at the numbers coldly to understand the scale of this impact. Last season, Singletary logged 311 offensive snaps, earning a 71.1 overall grade on PFF. He carried the rock 119 times for 437 rushing yards, scored 5 touchdowns, maintained a 3.7 yards per attempt average, and even forced 17 missed tackles as a runner. In the passing game, he had 18 receptions on 19 targets, totaling 151 receiving yards. Is this a smart short-term fix or a band-aid that will not solve our chronic depth problem on the roster? Wilcox wrote that Singletary would be the ideal option to provide immediate cover and take the pressure off rookie Mike Washington Jr. After all, the Raiders do not need a savior right now, but rather a reliable veteran while Jeanty works his way back to 100%. As Wilcox rightly pointed out, teams have tried to use Singletary as a lead back, but he might lack that home run explosiveness typical of the league's best running backs. However, as a depth piece, his resume speaks for itself. He had 3 straight seasons with over 800 rushing yards before the 437-yard marks in 2024 and 2025. Hold on, though, because what comes next changes the entire dynamic of this behind-the-scenes negotiation. There are heavy speculations that Singletary has become completely expendable in New York. With the Giants bringing in Najee Harris on a heavy deal, the landscape shifted overnight. Singletary plummeted down the depth chart, sitting behind Harris with Tyrone Tracy Jr. taking over the RB3 spot in the rotation. And this is where the Raiders front office needs to weigh every single penny and draft pick. Going after a big name like Harris would require a disproportionate financial and trade effort. Chasing Singletary, on the other hand, looks like an infinitely cheaper and more viable alternative to ensure our ground game does not collapse right at the start of the season. Nothing confirmed yet, but the front office is monitoring the Giants' every move ahead of final cuts to 53 players. The big question left for the fan base is, do we blindly trust Jeanty's lightning recovery or burn a future pick to bring in a tough-nosed veteran? Is this prudent strategy or a clear sign of a lack of confidence in the current group? If this actually happens and Singletary puts on the silver and black, the message to the NFL will be loud and clear. We are not making false steps, even with a packed training room, but if the coaching staff chooses to sit on their hands and pray for the rookie's health, the risk of starting the season with a stalled offense is massive. And that is not even the most concerning part, because the management of the most important position in football is making noise in the Las Vegas hallways, directly involving the future of our biggest draft gamble. When our franchise picked former Indiana Hoosiers standout Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, euphoria swept across the entire Raiders nation. The general expectation was that the kid would step in and take over as the undisputed starter from day 1 of training camp, ready to carry the flag for over a decade. Yet, training camp reality hit hard in a totally different way. The Raiders decided not throw the rookie straight into the fire. opting to sign veteran Kirk Cousins in free agency to take over the immediate starting job. Even though Cousins is officially named as the go-to guy to start games, external and internal pressures keep mounting. Mendoza had solid outings in the preseason, flashing glimpses of pro-ready talent, and that is exactly why a lot of people are questioning, why hold the kid back? Nobody has a definitive answer on when we will see our young prodigy on the field. Some argue he should spend the entire year in Cousins' shadow, absorbing the playbook without unnecessary pressures. Others, on the other hand, demand that Cousins gets benched at the first sign of struggle to make way for the future of the franchise. And that is when head coach Klint Kubiak decided to speak his mind with statements that fueled the internal debate even more. In comments shared by Sam Gordon of the Las Vegas Review-Journal right before the final preseason tune-up, Kubiak made a point of praising the rookie's effort, but dotted his I's and crossed his T's. Without mincing words, the coach defined Mendoza's moment. It is trial by fire every single day at every position, especially rookie quarterbacks. I see an evolving player that we just need to keep demanding excellence from to get better. Hold on though, because reading between the lines of that statement says way more than it looks on the surface. According to reports, Kubiak let it slip that Mendoza still has major technical gaps to fill before getting the keys to the starting offense. The coaching staff's high demands show the kid is not getting anything handed to him just for being the first overall pick. It is pure merit and daily growth. Whether this stance will shift over the course of the 2026 campaign, nobody dares to predict with absolute certainty. There are speculations that if the team stumbles out of the gate, the pressure to put Mendoza on the field will become unsustainable. Still, it is worth looking back at the NFL's recent past. Take the classic example of Jordan Love in Green Bay. He spent years learning behind a veteran before shining. On the flip side, Mendoza's college resume at Indiana screams that he was born ready. In the 2025 campaign, the youngster led the Hoosiers to an unprecedented national championship with staggering numbers. 3,535 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and a 72% completion rate, alongside 276 rushing yards and 7 scores on the ground. It was not just the volume, but the poise and leadership under maximum pressure. With a resume like that, carrying Las Vegas feels like a perfectly manageable burden. The big question throbbing in every fan's head is the coaching staff being smart by protecting the crown jewel, or are they wasting time out of fear of breaking the kid? If this actually happens and Mendoza gets fed to the Lions early, the structure is going to shake. But if he stays glued to the bench while Cousins is tested, the fans are going to demand immediate results. The vibe behind the scenes is electric, and that is not even the most concerning part, because the looming final roster cuts across the NFL, trimming squads from 90 down to 53 players, is about to trigger a dramatic and quiet shakeup in our quarterback room. The vast majority of teams across the league keep only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster for opening day, which puts the Las Vegas Raiders in a massive pinch. Kirk Cousins and rookie phenom Fernando Mendoza have locked in spots on the main group. But what happens to Aidan O'Connell's awkward situation? Let's look coldly at the kid's track record. O'Connell has started 17 games in his pro career, throwing 20 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. At a minimum, he has proven he can function as an above-average backup for any franchise in the league. However, with our current roster setup, the Raiders simply might not have the physical space or need to keep him on the active 53-man group. According to reports from market analysts, O'Connell has real value as a depth piece and long-term development option, but he is entering the final year of his contract and might not quietly accept sitting in eternal shadow. NFL.com expert Kevin Patra recently stated that O'Connell likely has already played his last snap in a Las Vegas uniform, openly suggesting he should be a primary trade target for teams lacking experience at the position before final cuts. Hold on though, because the pressure on the coaching staff does not stop there and ties directly into another massive strategic decision for the franchise this season. While O'Connell's future gets debated behind the scenes, fans and sports media are demanding total clarity on who will actually run the team in Week 1. Dave Hellman of The Athletic was categorical in his recent analysis, stating that this season cannot be considered a success if the franchise does not figure out exactly what they have in Fernando Mendoza. Hellman openly declared that he never bought the comfortable narrative that Kirk Cousins would play the whole campaign, demanding to see the rookie in action ASAP to shape the franchise's future. And to add even more backing to our young signal caller, rookie running back Roman Hemby, who shared the field with Mendoza at Indiana, had nothing but praise for his former teammate. In a statement released by Raiders.com, Hemby highlighted the quarterback's incredible maturity and natural leadership. It was really easy to connect with a guy like Fernando. He was a natural leader, and it was easy to rally behind him. Hemby also doubled down on how Mendoza's daily work ethic was the engine driving the entire college program toward its highest goals. Nothing confirmed yet on who starts against Miami or who is actually packing their bags before the league's final cutdown deadline. There are heavy speculations that the front office is weighing last-minute offers to avoid losing important assets for nothing on the market. If this actually happens and O'Connell gets traded while public pressure to hand the reins to Mendoza grows exponentially, our offensive identity is going to shift overnight. The big question throbbing in every fan's head is, are we managing our talent capital with surgical precision or walking into an unnecessary locker room issue before the opening whistle even blows? Now I want to hear from you. Is this the right path, or are we watching a problem grow? Between unexpected injuries, questions over who runs the offense, and brutal roster cuts, the moment calls for a cool head from our front office. Week 1 is right around the corner against the Miami Dolphins, and every choice made today is going to exact its price on the field. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Do you trust the coaching staff's strategy, or do you think things are going to blow up early?